Can you get all of these fees reduced? Yes, you can. And here's how. So one of the things that you can do is to ask the seller to cover closing costs as well as real estate commission. And in a buyer favorable market, or where there's a market that there are some highly motivated sellers, you can negotiate the seller paying for those concessions. Most of the time when you're sending over an offer here in the Kansas City metro area, the sellers have understood that the buyer's agency commission is going to be most likely included in the offer, and it's fully out there. Everybody knows what that fee is, and most of the time the sellers are going to agree to cover that or most of it. Now, when I'm talking about concessions, we're talking about some of those other closing costs that I listed above. So that can be a part of your negotiating, meaning that the seller can be asked to pay for a portion or all of it or most of it in your closing costs. Now, in a competitive market, when there's multiple offers that are happening and you're competing with 10 other buyers or whatever, then asking the seller to pay for your closing costs is harder. It's harder to get the seller to do that because there's going to be other buyers that are not going to ask for that. But in a normal market, it's very common for a buyer to request that those closing costs get paid or most of that. The all in all closing statements of this is you have the right to shop for your lender. Lender fees vary and people expect that. And so it is okay to shop your lender. I have some vetted lenders that are great, and so you can always check those out. Get loan estimates from at least 2 or 3 lenders if you feel comfortable with that, and then compare the loan estimation documents that both of them send you. They'll send you all of their fees and the estimations of it. Now, it won't include all of it because it won't include like title fees and real estate fees and all that. It won't include that, but it'll include what the lender fees are. And so comparing those closing costs are important. You don't just want to compare the interest rate. And so sometimes a slightly higher rate will dramatically lower fees, and you'll get a better deal depending on how long you're going to be in the home. The other thing is you can absolutely shop your title company. I have some vetted title companies that I love, but in Kansas and Missouri, buyers generally can now pick who they want the title company to be used for. You might even know somebody who works at a title company, and they might be able to give you a discount. I've had that happen before where a buyer came in and said, hey, I know somebody in this title company. Can we use their title company? They're going to reduce some of my costs a little bit. So yeah, absolutely. If you know somebody in there, that's another way to decrease some of the title fees. Title fees are kind of regulated, so there's not a ton difference, but you know, they're not identical across all providers, so it's worth just asking, right? And then another little tip is to close at the end of the month so that your prepaids are just a little bit less. As I mentioned earlier, this reduces your prepaid expenses because you're not paying for that interest, and it can save you money. It can save you a few $100s out of pocket expenses when they're trying to fund that prepaid fee right there. Then another tip is to see if your lender would actually roll the costs into the loan. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but there are some loan programs out there that will allow you to finance certain closing costs into the loan rather than paying for all of them up front. This does increase your loan amount, and it may increase your monthly payment a little bit more than what you want, but it will save you some additional funds bringing to closing, and so you don't have to bring it out of pocket at that time. It'll actually just be put into the thing, but it can help with the cash to close that you're needed. There's also another tip. It's the First Time Home Buyers Program. Missouri and Kansas both have down payment assistance programs for first-time home buyers, and these programs can actually cover thousands of dollars worth of closing costs. I just had a buyer get $4,000 of their closing costs covered because of this specific first-time home buyers program. And then also too, if you're not a first-time home buyer, but you've been in your property for years and years and years, you might just want to go ahead and ask for it, because if there's a certain length of time frame that goes by without you purchasing a home, then you might actually be able to qualify for a first-time home buyer program if it's been super long. So ask your lender about that. Now, these programs, they are income and purchase price limited oftentimes, so you might have to only be able to make a certain amount, and they might have to be in a certain geographical location, and then there might be actually a purchase price limit, so you can't go higher than this. But if you qualify, these programs can make it significant if you are wanting to get some savings taken into consideration. So ask your lender about a program. There's one in Missouri called the MHDC program. I've helped multiple buyers with these programs. So MHDC is one for Missouri, and then there's KHRC in Kansas. So be sure and ask your lender if they tap into those programs. And that's another thing too. Some of these lenders don't want to fill out all the paperwork for programs like that. Well, find a lender who will, and who will fill out the paperwork for all of these programs. All right, so what does the closing document disclosure process look like? All right, so 3 business days before you close, the lender is supposed to send you a closing statement. It's either called a closing disclosure, some people call it an ALTA, which is ALTA. But this document, regardless of what they call it, it's this final version of all of your closing costs. They line it up, they put it into almost like a little Excel spreadsheet, but they line by line tell you what the fee is, what it's called, and then at the very bottom of the page, you'll have a total amount of what your fee is. Now, the lender will oftentimes send you this closing statement before the title company adds their final numbers. So it is still an estimate, or it could be, until it's all approved. So you'll want to take that into consideration, but as long as it is approved and everything has gone through underwriting, then the lender will do what's called clear to close. And that means that everything is clear, all the numbers are final. Then you just run to the bank and get a money order or a cashier's check made out to wherever you're closing at. But this official statement is exactly what you will sign on the closing date. And they also send that to me, and I will go through it and also help you analyze it. And if you have any questions, you can either call me or your lender, but I help review it, and you'll want to review it very carefully. And then you'll want to also compare it to the original loan estimation that you got in the very, very beginning of your loan process. And if those numbers have changed dramatically, then you're going to want to reach out to your lender and get an explanation as to why those numbers changed so dramatically, and get an explanation for it. And that is fair. So you'll need to ask your lender to walk through the differences before you show up to the closing table and sign on the dotted line. So what you'll need to bring on closing day, I mentioned that you're typically going to need to bring a cashier's check and a money order for your total cash to close amount. And that is on that document. This is basically going to include the closing statement or the closing costs, as well as your down payment. And it's going to have all of it there, and you'll just bring that amount in a cashier's check or a money order. And sometimes people like to wire it as well. So myself and the lender will both have this figure for you in advance of your closing date. Now, let me just say this. A few things not to do between the time that you get under contract all the way up to the closing. I actually have a whole video about the 10 commandments of getting a loan, and you'll want to go and visit that video because it's got 10 very important things that you do not want to do. Because if you do this, it can mess up your loan approval and your final numbers, and even it could disqualify you from getting the loan. So the first big thing is do not make any large deposits or withdrawals from any of your bank accounts without documenting what that is, and calling your lender in advance and saying, hey, I'm about ready to deposit this gift of $75,000 into my bank account. Can I do that? You might need to sit on it until after closing, okay? You definitely want to talk to your lender about it and document it, because you need to make sure that your lender is okay with it. Otherwise, it could have to go back through underwriting and get that approved and the whole bit. So you don't want to mess with that. The other thing is that you don't want to open up credit cards or take out new loans. Just don't do it. Don't get tempted to go into Nebraska Furniture Mart, for instance, and see $10,000 worth of furniture that you absolutely have to have for your new house. And then you fill out all of the loan paperwork because the salesperson there who's taking applications is so nice and so good at his job or her job. And you fill out that application, they run it, you get approved, and then you put $10,000 worth of furniture on this and you're supposed to close in a week. Don't do it. All of it can wait. That will mess your debt to income ratio up. It could mess your credit because they do a pool at the very end and they will see that. So don't do it. Then another thing, don't do it is don't quit your job or change employments from the time that you get under contract to the time that you close. And if you do change this status, you really need to pick up the phone and call your lender and talk to them about it. Now, if you are an engineer and you just got hired on to a company that is, and your position is exactly the same, it's an engineer, then it's kind of the same thing. And so a lender will just need to know who your new employment is and get job verifications on that. And sometimes they'll be able to go ahead and continue on with the process just with an offer letter. So you'll always want to talk to your lender about that big life change too. All of these can trigger a re-underwriting process, and it can delay or it can derail your closing entirely. I know this is boring advice. I know, I get it. I know it's boring advice. I know, but it matters. So make sure that you are following along on those 10 commandments in that video. Those are just a highlight of it. All right, so closing costs are genuinely really one of the most confusing parts of buying at home, but they don't have to be. So once you know what they are and what they're looking for and what the title company is going to see and what the lender's going to see, you can plan for it. You can negotiate some of it. You can walk into closing day and feel confident of what you are paying and what is on that closing statement and not be blindsided. If you're getting ready to buy or sell here in the Kansas City metropolitan area, I would love to be able to help you, and you want somebody to walk through all of this paperwork with you and just go through all of it and get you some really good lenders, then I am here to help. No confusion, just a clear picture of what you're coming up in the whole entire process financially. So reach out. You can reach out through my website. You can reach out and leave a comment below, or you can also comment in the descriptions. There is a link. It's a Calendly link. You can click on that link and it goes right to my calendar, and I'm happy to connect with you there. We can set up a Zoom call. You'll just answer some questions, and I look forward to helping you. If this video was helpful at all to you, then give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel so I can help all kinds of people, and that you can get a notification when I post tours and other educational videos as well. I have a full library of all kinds of videos on this YouTube channel, from buyer education to seller education. There's home tours, there's what to expect when you can move into this subdivision or into this suburb, anywhere in the metropolitan area. And I also cover some fun things to do. So thanks for watching. Go buy a great house with my help, of course. #AnitaHome.